It's midnight and you're tuning into Nightline with me, Nurin Razmyn. The top stories. PM issues 50 million ringgit emergency aid to flood-hit Kelantan and Terengganu. And Kelantan issues alert for second wave of floods. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has announced an additional immediate allocation of 25 million ringgit each to Kelantan and Terengganu in response to the worsening floods in both states. The funds, channeled through the Implementation Coordination Unit (ICU) of the Prime Minister's department, will be used for repairing essential infrastructure such as roads and drainage systems, as well as raising road levels in Hulu Besut.
Bantuan yang penuh. Dan untuk Kelantan dan Terengganu, seperti mana kita umumkan, 50 juta telah diputuskan untuk disalurkan. Kemudian saya dapat maklumat lagi tentang keperluan-keperluan mutakhir ini, dan kita dah lulus selain dari 50 juta itu, tambahan kerana nampak jumlah yang terkesan itu jauh lebih besar daripada unjuran awal.
Anwar also said that the federal government had agreed to provide special financial assistance of 500 ringgit to over 14,000 civil servants in Terengganu, involving an allocation of 7.4 million ringgit. He said this after visiting flood victims at the SK Kampung Telaga Papan Temporary Evacuation Centre (PPS) in Setiu on Sunday. The Prime Minister added that the federal government is also monitoring the flood situation in other states. He also expects the total losses in the flood-affected states to reach nearly 1 billion ringgit. Meanwhile, Anwar emphasized that there is no need to declare a state of emergency despite the worsening flood situation, particularly in Kelantan and Terengganu. He added that he is very satisfied with all the agencies involved in managing the flood disaster, as they have carried out their duties effectively.
Sekarang ini dari segi pasukan keselamatan dan Majlis Keselamatan Negara tidak memikirkan keperluan itu, kerana seluruh jentera pasukan keselamatan, Angkatan Tentera, Polis, APM dan seluruh jentera kerajaan, Persekutuan Negeri dan di daerah itu nampak menangani masalah ini dengan baik. Jadi tidak ada keperluan sama sekali untuk diisytihar darurat.
Earlier, Anwar arrived at Sultan Mahmud International Airport in the morning to personally assess the worsening flood situation in Terengganu. After spending time to meet with flood victims at the PPS at Sekolah Kebangsaan Telaga Papan, Anwar then proceeded to another PPS at Sekolah Kebangsaan Mangkok, also in Setiu. In the meantime, the Kelantan state government has issued an alert warning that a second wave of floods is expected to begin this Wednesday. The announcement was made through a social media post on Sunday. Kelantan remains the worst-hit state by floods, with over 85,000 people displaced as of 10 a.m. on Sunday. A total of 251 temporary flood relief centers, PPS, are currently housing evacuees, with the devastating disaster showing little improvement. The hardest hit among the 9 flood-stricken districts are Pasir Mas, followed by Tumpat and Pasir Puteh. Terengganu has the second highest number of evacuees, with 39,514 individuals seeking shelter at 284 PPS across 8 districts. Meanwhile, Pahang has become the latest state to be affected, with the number of flood victims rising to 1,351 at 26 PPS in Raup, Jerantut and Lipis. In 6 other flood-affected states, the number of evacuees is decreasing, while the flood situation in Selangor has fully recovered. Overall, the total number of displaced victims due to the floods across Peninsular Malaysia stands at 137,821. Meanwhile, Kelantan recorded another 2 fatalities after 2 elderly men were found drowned at 2 locations in Machang on Sunday. This brings the number of flood-related deaths in Kelantan to 5. State Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Yusof Mamat confirmed the incident, stating that one of the victims, aged 72, was found in Kampung Kuala Sat, while the other, aged 78, was discovered in Kampung Gelung Gajah. It is believed that both victims had ventured into the flood waters to tend to their livestock before being found drowned. Yusuf said the authorities had advised the families of both victims to evacuate, but they refused. He urged those affected by the floods to follow the authorities' instructions to relocate to relief centers in order to avoid any untoward incidents. In Raub, 2 men were forced to seek temporary refuge on a nearby tree branches after the boat they were in broke down in a flooded area. The incident occurred at Kampung Kera, Raub at around 10 a.m. A rescue team led by Raub Fire and Rescue Station Chief Khairul Anwar Yaakob rushed to the scene after receiving a report about the incident at 10:30 a.m. The team had to wade through strong currents to reach the location, where both victims were then safely evacuated to a secure location. More than 10 villages along Sungai Dong and Sungai Gali have been flooded since late Saturday night, following a sudden overflow of the 2 rivers. In Negeri Sembilan, a teenager was forced to cling onto a road marker after being swept away by floodwaters. The incident occurred at around 3 a.m. in the Gemas Taping Road near Jelai. The teenager was washed away by the floodwaters while riding a motorcycle through the inundated area with a friend. Fortunately, the victim's friend managed to escape. Villagers who were informed of the incident sought help from a cement truck driver who happened to be passing by. The driver, 44-year-old Muhammad Jabar Samsudin, when contacted, said he immediately waded through the floodwaters until he spotted the teenager waving for help. The victim, who was shivering from the cold, was quickly rescued and handed over to the villagers. The flood situation across the country, especially in Kelantan and Terengganu, is deeply concerning, as the situation was worse than the floods recorded 10 years back. However, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the situation is expected to improve by next week, following the forecast by Met Malaysia, which predicts a reduction in rainfall surges.
Apa yang difokuskan oleh Met Malaysia yang meramalkan bahawa luruan hujan akan berkurangan pada minggu hadapan akan menjadi satu kenyataan, dan ini menyebabkan akan berlaku pengurangan air banjir di daratan.
Zahid, who also serves as the chairman of the National Disaster Management Committee, urged the Social Welfare Department, JKM, and other involved agencies to be prepared for post-flood efforts. This includes readiness to assist victims in the cleaning up of residential areas. So far, the government has mobilized more than 82,000 personnel nationwide, while relief centers across the country were ready to accommodate up to 2.1 million victims. The Education Ministry, MOE, will proceed with the 2024 Sijil Pelajaran Malaysia SPM examination in all flood-stricken states as scheduled beginning Monday. Its Minister, Fadlina Siddiq, said the decision was made after considering advice from the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, and based on weather forecasts from Met Malaysia. According to Fadlina, 5,377 SPM candidates have been identified as being affected by floods in 3 states, comprising 3,111 candidates in Kelantan, 1,734 in Terengganu, and 532 in Kedah. Through Ops Payung, these flood-affected candidates will be placed in hostels to ensure they have the comfort and facilities needed to sit for the examination.
Calon yang terjejas akan digerakkan ke asrama atau pusat peperiksaan alternatif. Ini untuk memastikan calon yang kita selamatkan ataupun yang terjejas ini dapat keselesaan dan menduduki peperiksaan mengikut jadual yang ditetapkan.
The minister said this at a special media conference on the ministry's flood management and SPM examination preparations in Putrajaya on Sunday. She added that the relocation of the affected candidates is being carried out by the State Education Department, JPN, in these 3 states. In addition, the MOE is allowing flood-affected candidates to forego wearing uniforms during the examinations and instead wear any other appropriate attire. Private candidates are also urged to contact their respective JPN or directly visit alternative examination centres to ensure they do not miss out on sitting for the exams. The Malay language oral examination is scheduled to take place from Monday until December 5th. The Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Ministry, KPZN, launched Ops Kesan 3.0 on Sunday, in line with the implementation of civil servant salary adjustments under the Public Service Remuneration System, SSPA. Its Minister, Datuk Seri Armizan Muhammad Ali, on Sunday said the operation aims to monitor and curb profiteering activities through 5 key approaches, which include collecting data on prices and service charges that began on October 1st.
Bermula hari ini dan berkuat kuasanya SSPA pada hari ini, kita memulakan gerakan Ops Kesan 3.0 yang khususnya menjurus kepada kesan daripada kenaikan ataupun pelarasan gaji pejabat awam ini.
Armizan explained that the collected data would be used to compare prices before and after the SSPA salary adjustments, with daily price monitoring covering 480 items as a guide for price movements. The ministry has also established standard operating procedures for handling complaints regarding charges, prices and supply issues, including enforcement actions to be taken within 24 hours of receiving complaints. During the data collection period for Ops Kesan 3.0, a total of 2,803 premises nationwide were inspected, involving 13,209 items. The operation aims to identify parties who raise prices to generate excessive profits and to curb profiteering activities. Agriculture and Food Security Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Sabu on Sunday acknowledged the decree from the Sultan of Selangor, Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, to retain the name of University Putra Malaysia, UPM. Therefore, he stated that the issue arising from his previous proposal should no longer be pursued.
Saya akor dari itu keputusan yang baik. Tugas kita ialah bagaimana nak mengangkat martabat bersama-sama dengan kaki tangan akademik dan sebagainya untuk meningkatkan universiti itu sendiri. Peruntukan dan sebagainya kalau boleh kita tambah kalau ada kemampuan keuangan untuk meningkatkan lagi UPM itu.
At UPM's 48th convocation ceremony on Saturday, Sultan Sharafuddin decreed that the name University Putra Malaysia be retained. The Selangor ruler also stated that the UPM Board of Governors, as well as himself as the university's chancellor, were not consulted beforehand regarding any proposal to change the university's name. This royal decree followed Muhammad's announcement last Thursday that the proposal to revert UPN's name to its original name, University Pertanian Malaysia, would be presented to the cabinet. Vamos succumbs to their second defeat. Sports after this breather.
Kita kena pasti kejadian ini bukanlah lagi kes penderaan, sebaliknya adalah satu kes bunuh.
Ibu mangsa dan juga Echa bergerak pergi ke kederaan dalam keadaan mangsa kakinya terkulai seperti tidak sedarkan diri.
Ada satu kes yang berkaitan dengan perebutan hak jagaan anak angkat.
Bekas suami datanglah, cakap nak ambil anak. Dia terus buat lari anak-anak lah.
This is the best platform for me to spread my wings.
Dari mimpi ke realiti.
That you can actually sing. Most of them can't.
Hari ini mereka sudah berada di kelas tersendiri, menjadikan suara mereka satu dalam sejuta.
You've got talent
And you don't need us to tell you that.
Siapakah yang akan muncul sebagai bintang yang seterusnya? Kalpis Soda One in a Million kini kembali di TV3.
Bangsa Puri jadi perhentian kaki lalok peroleh bekalan dadah.
Aku 1 minggu tengok buku kau. Sekarang mana kau simpan barang? InsyaAllah dia akan packing kau sokonnya macam tube tu.
Operator sebagai perantara, taktik sindiket elak kegiatan haram dikesan.
Sebelum connect, kau tengok dia dulu. Telefon lah. Kau call operator.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Kita melukis ni satu gambar. Kalau yang senang tu dalam 5 minit boleh siap. Kalau ayah tak suka, mungkin makan masa 6-7 minit sebab daripada segi lukisan, daripada segi warna, ada banyak warna.
Untuk bahagian motor ni kita pakai depan motor lah. Biasa belakang kan kita pakai lori punya. Okey, lepas tu kita pakai gearbox transfer untuk 4-wheel dia untuk lebih pick up dan lebih kuat.
Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Sports now, the mobile legend Bang Bang M6 World Championship, Malaysia's team Vamos suffered another defeat after they were humbled by Cambodia's CFU Gaming on Sunday in a best-of-1 clash, kicking team Vamos down into the 1-2 bracket. Team Vamos started off promisingly after gaining multiple kills during the early and mid-game, whilst also leading in goal difference. However, CFU Gaming were persistent and held on to their tactics as they performed brilliantly during the team fights and narrowing down the kill count. The Cambodians gained their advantage after securing the Lord and continued their focus on taking down towers from each lanes. The fate of the game was sealed after a team fight in the Lord spawn as CFU managed to kill 3 members of Team Vamos, which then allowed them to push the mid lane and finishing off the Crystal in 14 minutes with a 17-14 final score. Team Vamos now joins SRG in the 1-2 bracket with a high chance of both of them facing off in a best-of-3 format next Wednesday. On to football, the Malaysia Cup. Sri Pahang FC secured a quarter-final spot after defeating Selangor FC 3-2 on aggregate in their round of 16 clash on Sunday night. Sri Pahang took the lead 23 minutes into the game after Manuel Hidalgo calmly scored from the spot following a poor defense from the home side. Selangor had to wait until the 76th minute to equalize, with Muhammad Safuwan Baharudin heading in a cross from Alvin Fortes. The home team's joy, however, was short-lived as Sri Pahang was awarded another penalty 5 minutes later and Sergio Aguero made no mistake, converting it to seal a 2-1 victory on the night and 3-2 on aggregate. The German Bundesliga. A last gas header from Jamal Musiala ensured the points were shared in the Klassiker as leader Bayern Munich came away from Borussia Dortmund with a 1-1 draw in another pulsating encounter on Saturday. Jamie Bino Gittens opened the scoring for Dortmund in the 27th minute after sprinting down the left touchline before unleashing a superb strike that sent the home fans wild. Bayern turned up the heat in the second half and could have equalized on 49 minutes when Thomas Müller found himself in space for a shot, but Gregor Kobel pulled off a remarkable save to deny the German veteran. The visitors, however, managed to pull the level scoreline just 5 minutes before time, as Michael Olise was able to gather the rebound from a free kick and provided a pinpoint cross for Musiala, who directed his header past Kobel for the equalizer. The results ensured that Vincent Kompany's side remained 7 points clear at the top of the table, while Dortmund lie 5th. Still on football, the Copa Libertadores. Botafogo overcame playing with 10 men to win their first title after beating fellow Brazilian side Atlético Mineiro 3-1 in the final on Saturday. After just 30 seconds into the match, Botafogo's midfielder, Gregor, was given a straight red card after hitting the head of Fausto Vera with his foot. Botafogo, however, began to show more attacking intent and opened the scoring in the 35th minute when Thiago Almada put the ball right into Luis Henrique's path to fire home into the net. Alex Telles then converted from the spot to make it 2-0 7 minutes later after Minero's keeper Everson crashed into Henrique as he attempted to grab the ball. Minero fought harder after the break and managed to score a goal when Eduardo Vargas headed home a corner from Hulk, but Botafogo defended well, with Junior Santos putting the icing on the cake in added time to give Arthur Jorge's side their first title in the South American competition. It was also the third straight title for Rio de Janeiro clubs after Fluminense in 2023 and Flamengo in 2022. Over a dozen killed as powerful storm pummels India. The details when Nightline returns.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Thursday.
Wanita hari ini.
Seronok tengok orang bahagia.
Hai, kita semua layak untuk bahagia.
Musim-musim hujan ni dapat makan sup sedap juga
Nak
kan?
tak kalau saya belanja sup? Ada sup yabok, ada tom yum, ada rasam.
FOMO dan juga YOLO adakah boleh menjerat kita?
Ikuti perbincangannya nanti.
Monsun dah bermula, banjir di mana-mana.
Apa persiapan kita jika berlakunya banjir?
Cakap sikit terasa tegur, sikit merajuk.
Hai, susahnya lah kalau pasangan ni kuat sentak.
Semuanya di WHI TV3.
Dan stream ditonton.
Wanita hari ini.
1 dalam sejuta.
Apa yang dengan ni?
Sepasang sayap.
Hampir berbelas-belas tahun, tiba-tiba dia dengar cakap, One in a Million kembali. Ini satu platform untuk suara Dayang. Sebagai seorang penyanyi, it's a good experience for me lah untuk mereka-mereka yang ingin menceburkan diri dalam bidang muzik. All the best, prepare betul-betul, bagi semua, all out.
OIAM akan datang Disember ini.
Alah, dah habis tak sempat nak tengok.
Drama TV3 Mak? Tengok je lah, tonton.
Telefon nak buat?
Meh, telefon Mak. Mula-mula Mak buka tonton, lepas tu tekan sign up here untuk buat akaun baru. Isi nombor telefon, email dengan password. Masukkan nombor TAC dan siap.
Ya, senang je. Jadi tengok dasar?
Boleh lah. Jadi dah drama Mak tu.
Onto the foreign front. The Zionist forces have carried out several air attacks on towns in southern Lebanon, although the ceasefire agreed with Hezbollah has largely continued to hold. According to local media, a Zionist drone attack on a village in southern Lebanon killed 2 people and injured 2 others on Saturday. A Zionist drone attack also hit a car in the Tyre district, injuring 3 people, including a child. Meanwhile, Zionist warplanes carried out 2 air attacks in the Sidon district, injuring at least 1 person. Israel carried out the attacks despite the current Israel-Lebanon ceasefire that ended more than 13 months of fighting between the Zionist military and Hezbollah. Meanwhile, military strikes killed at least 15 Palestinians in Gaza on Sunday, as Zionist forces kept up bombardments across the enclave and blew up houses on its northern edge. In the central Gaza camp of Nusayrat, a Zionist airstrike killed 6 people in a house and another attack killed 3 in a home in Gaza City. 2 children were killed when a missile hit a tent encampment in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip, while 4 other people were killed in an airstrike in Rafah. In the meantime, Hamas leaders held talks in Cairo with Egyptian security officials to explore ways to reach a deal with Israel that could secure the release of hostages in return for Palestinian hostages. Cyclone Fengal has killed at least 19 people in India and Sri Lanka, causing massive flooding in the Tamil Nadu state and the Puducherry region on Sunday after crossing India's southern coast from the Bay of Bengal. According to officials, Puducherry had been hit by the heaviest 24-hour rainfall in 30 years. They also said the cyclone left parts of the city of Chennai inundated. Flights from the city were temporarily suspended on Saturday, but had resumed as of early Sunday morning. Meanwhile, in Sri Lanka, at least 16 people were killed, with heavy rains affecting a total of 138,944 families. Authorities are continuing to monitor the storm's progress, hoping to prevent further loss of life and property. Thai Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra on Sunday protested an incident involving Myanmar's Navy firing on Thai fishing vessels after 1 fisherman drowned, 2 left injured and 31 detained. She questioned claims that the fishing boats had intruded into Myanmar's territorial waters when Myanmar's Navy opened fire on the vessels on Saturday, saying that it was inconclusive. However, she said Thailand does not support violence whatever the circumstances, adding that Bangkok was seeking more details on the incident and a quick release of 4 Thai nationals who were among the 31 fishermen detained. Meanwhile, Myanmar's ruling junta have yet to respond to the incident. Indonesia's new 12% value-added tax, VAT, initially scheduled to roll out from January 1st next year, is likely to be postponed to a later date. Presidential Economic Advisor Luhut Panjaitan on Sunday said the government has shifted its focus to introducing stimulus injections to prevent its economy from sliding. This as the government is planning to offer 2 to 3 months electricity subsidies to stimulate the economy before implementing the VAT hike. Luhut's remarks came days after Indonesian businesses and unions opposed the VAT hike amid the surging living costs that are driving consumers to cut back on spending, resulting in a domestic economic slump. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as a Palestinian director brings famous poet Mahmoud Darwish's writings to life through musical theatre. With that, I'm Nurin Razmyn. Thank you for watching and stay safe.